All right, David. David, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
San Diego, California.
San Diego. And tell me about your family growing up. You had both your mom and dad?
No, my biological father, he was a drug addicted, bisexual Muay Thai kickboxing champion.
Say it again.
Bisexual, drug addicted Muay Thai kickboxing champion. I never met him, but these are the things my mother relayed about. He left, when I was first born, so I never knew him. So I was raised by my mother and my grandparents. My grandparents are French American. So my early childhood, was good and everything. But due to what happened to my mom when she was a kid, which must have had a profound negative impact upon her.
What do you think your mom went through?
Well, when she was 9 years old, she watched, paralyzed, while her mother, my biological grandmother, literally beat to death her little brother, who would have been my uncle. So I don't know, she just was underlying, psychotic, and it just manifested one day, and my mom just, stood there just paralyzed and saw the whole thing, so the resulting psychological trauma that brought on with her, she was of the type of woman that just was going through a series of codependent relationships, usually with men that were abusive, alcoholic, drug addiction too, but usually alcohol. It seems is the prevalent. For some reason, I don't know what the correlation there is, but so when I was growing up. Junior high and high school, my stepfather, Clay, was ex-Marine, militant. He was very homophobic and alcoholic, and I have an effeminate nature. I'm an artist, a musician, and I think that there was aspects of him that were like a closet case, kind of situation that he, couldn't deal with or accept, and so he would lash out with, anger and hostility, and often, directed at me because I would trigger, these conflicting emotions just due to the way I am, and so for all through junior high and high school, it was like hell. I was afraid to come home. I never ran away because I'm just not the runaway type. I should have, but I would come home, to the insanity, he would put a post-it note on the door: if you fucking forget to lock the fucking door again, I'm gonna fucking kill you. It's a bit harsh for forgetting to lock the door. I'm just a kid. This time, my mom wanted me to do the dishes, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do the dishes. And instead of, a reasonable reprimand, he threw me out into the space in between the two houses, and it's like a little gravel walkway, and literally picked me up and threw me onto the house. I weigh all of 100 pounds at the time. He's an ex-Marine, there's something out of a fucking Marvel movie, throws me into the wall, and I, land in the gravel. All that just because I didn't want to do the goddamn dishes. And then the incident my senior year for the yearbook photo for the yearbooks, I was in the basement getting ready to go to school, trying to get, look nice, get prettied up. And my friend from across the street, Zach Henderson, was there too, and we were playing around, making some noise, and we woke him up in his hangover rage, and he right in front of my friend, threw me to the ground and was kicking me, and literally picked me up and threw me out of the house. I'm all disheveled, hair's a mess, crying, and that's the yearbook photo that's in my 1995 yearbook. What a great memory! Thanks a lot, stepdad. And but the profound thing about it, moving forward in life to me, is how it never occurred to me, in my 20s and 30s, how the problems that I was having, particularly in social situations, being socially awkward, anxiety, and most problem with relationships. It's one of those book smart, but a little lacking on the common sense. Didn't even occur to me to get some sort of treatment or therapy or anything whatsoever. Nothing. I had zero idea, completely oblivious that I'm all fucked up from being traumatized for 5-6 years of my late childhood. So I mean, that just to me, like like I said, I think that's the profound thing about it in present day. I don't know if I'm completely over it. I'm sure that there's still things I suffer from as a result, but
How old are you now?
I'm now 45, and I came to LA to pursue my music. I played drums, guitar, and piano. It started out great for like the very beginning. I did visual effects for a movie called The Blood Sand. It's a low-budget horror movie with Jamie Kennedy and Brooke Butler. So everything seemed great when I got here. I had a car, I had all my music instruments, and it seemed like everything was going to be fantastic. But piece by piece, everything's just, I've been robbed over and over and over, usually by people that I think are my friends. Like, I lost everything. My car's gone, like my drum set, my guitars, everything. I had to rebuy my guitar 4 times now. I luckily got the stimulus check and bought it yet again, so I at least have a guitar. But it's just like I had such high hopes and aspirations. I thought things were going to finally be good, and no. And I think that this is also partially a manifestation of what happened to me with the abuse, because the relationship problems do tie into it. Like, I did a medical cannabis operation to try to recoup some of my loss, like buy a car and everything. And I was living with this girl in Eagle Rock, and she's a professional dominatrix, and we would collaborate together, etc. But she had me believing that she really cared about me. I genuinely thought that she was like maybe we'd even form a relationship of some kind. I was attracted to her, obviously, and I did this whole thing with this operation. I would have made $8,000-$10,000. It could have helped get me back on my feet. And right towards the end, I went back to San Diego to visit some friends, and I came back the next day, and this lovely woman had completely taken everything. Like like, I have to assume that that was her intention from the get-go. Like, she saw me as an easy target. This is a professional dominatrix that's very adept at manipulating people. And I had no idea, no clue. I should have seen warning signs. And so yet again, I lost everything I was counting on, and that's how I ended up on the street there. Because what am I going to do? Stay living with this woman? Of course not. I didn't have anywhere to go. Like, I didn't have any jobs in the industry lined up. Like, so that was it. Like, I just went on the street and fucking was lost.
So you've been on Skid Row for how long now?
I've been Skid Row for 2 years. Broken up though. I was in jail for a little while, and then I was at a transitional housing in South Central, but I had problems there. I thought that LA would be a more progressive place, but I've actually encountered more ignorance and homophobia and hatred here than anywhere else. And the management of the place where I was at, they were clearly homophobic, and they would, give me a hard time. They came in and ransacked my room and took my women's clothing and said, "You're not allowed to wear women's clothing." I'm like, what the fuck? Who are you to tell me what I can and can't wear? This is absurd. And one of the managers ended up, I tried to come into my room. They said I wasn't allowed in my room, and the one manager literally shoved me, and I did nothing to garner this type of treatment. So clearly it is, they were acting out on their discrimination against people of the LGBT community, and it was really fucked up, because I didn't do anything to deserve that at all. Like, my room is a mess, and I play heavy metal music. That's about it. So then I came back to Skid Row again, because I have nowhere else to go, really.
Did you stay in a tent now?
I was in a tent for almost a year, and I don't know, it's coming from an affluent background, and having gone to college, and I was kind of a spoiled rich kid in the early formative years of my childhood, and coming from all that, going all the way from the top to the bottom, it's been a hard fall. But one thing I can say is living on the street in a tent is like ultimate freedom. Not romanticizing in any way, shape, or form.
What are the upsides of it?
Well, that's that is like all of the like rat race induced stress and all the little hang-ups, a lot of which are ultimately arbitrary and unnecessary. Like you got to make your bed and things like that. That really don't matter at the end of the day. You just can forget about all that. Like that. None of that matters. Like there is no schedule. There's no rush. Which is kind of cool as an artist and musician, like, because I can just, play my guitar and paint, like, all the time without having But over time, you start to realize that there's important things that come along with that connection to society that, when missing for a length of time, have a very real impact, negative, detrimental impact upon your psychological well-being, your psyche, like. It's like for a short time you're okay, but after a while it starts to change you and degrade you as a person. So
yeah. Are drugs a part of your life?
Yeah. They I was growing up, I was like real straight edge. I didn't even smoke weed or anything. But after everything that's happened, like over and over again, like from my childhood. Being robbed time and time again, and just, kind of hopelessness and everything, like depression. I did, like many people, I turned to crystal meth, because it just numbs you. It like gives you energy to do things, be productive, and just like in one fell swoop, in an instant, takes all that shit away. But I mean, it doesn't really. It just hides it, just sweeps it under the rug. But it does it so goddamn well that it's hard to. Once you've experienced that crutch, it's really hard to not use it because it works so goddamn well.
And you become addicted to it as well?
Yeah. I can say there's a differentiation that should be made. I in no way defend or advocate. But I'm definitely a meth addict, and I would be lying if I said that I didn't like it, because I do. I've been drinking like coffee all day, every day since I was a little kid. So stimulants are obviously what my body work. But luckily in my case, at least, like there is I'm able to utilize it like in a much more modest way. Like a lot of people out here like do. It's insane amounts, like shooting it up, and I use a very, very small amount. Like an 8 ball lasts me 2 weeks. So I mean, I'm an addict for sure, and it's not something that I should keep doing forever. But at least it's not spiraled out of control. I don't go steal shit or like go all crazy, staying up for days on end. Like, so I feel fortunate because even though it has helped me through this really bad patch of my life. It's not like I want to keep, just be a fucking meth addict on the streets of Skid Row forever. I got a degree and like, I got things going for me. So it would be really shitty of me to just, let this be the end of it.
How do you support yourself now?
It's been a little bit of everything. At times I've turned to escorting, like, I thought for a while that I was transgender because I'm very feminine and I like wearing women's clothing. So that being the case, like I, like a lot of people of my ilk have, at many times turned to escorting because, in my situation, I'm very limited, with what I can do. Like, it won't be forever. Like I'm gonna have opportunities in the near future, but over the course of this, being on probation and everything, I haven't been able to work in the industry, and my teeth are all fucked up. I'm, been rendered a homeless drug addict. But
crystal meth is why your teeth are messed up?
Well, yeah, they were already on the downfall. Like I started doing crystal about 3 years ago, and they were already like getting messed up. But certainly the amphetamine sped up, exacerbated the situation, and they very quickly,
What is the mechanism behind crystal meth destroying your teeth?
I'm not an expert on the subject, but I don't think that it is the chemical compound or the substance itself. I think that more dramatically, what is a detriment to people's health, particularly teeth, skin, psychological well-being, is the lack of nutrients and the lack of sleep. Sleep deprivation is extremely harmful.
Like how many days will you go without sleep?
Well, as I said, I do keep my usage pretty moderate. I never stay up for more than 2 days. But even that, our bodies are pretty fragile. So, I eat, pretty well most of the time. But I have to admit that I don't have complete control over it, and I do stay up more than I should a lot, and I don't eat as much as I should a lot, and so it could be a lot worse. There's people with a lot more severe addiction, but it's definitely had a detriment.
And do you have friends? Do you have relationships at all?
Not really, because I've had just really bad luck. The girl I lived with in New York that brought me for that. I was involved with another lady friend that I met when I first got here, and similar situation. I thought that we were forming a relationship, and she just completely manipulated me and took advantage, saw me as an easy target, I presume, and she took everything. She took my amp, my guitars, everything that she could take, almost all my items that are of any value. And so those types of things having happened so many times, I don't even I have no trust. I don't want to associate with anybody. I'm just don't talk to me. All you're gonna do is use me, rob me, treat me badly, something.
So you're basically a loner now?
Yeah, pretty much. I have one friend here in downtown, and it's funny, because back in college when I was spoiled rich fucking college boy, I never would have imagined that I would be a homeless drug addict on the streets of LA, and my best friend is a black transsexual. But she's one of the few really good people that actually gives a shit about me, and that I can actually count on, and so at least I'm not completely alone. But
what emotions do you deal with now?
Mostly, my depression's gotten a lot better. Partially just because of numbing it with drugs, but also just time. Heals all wounds, kind of thing. A lot of frustration because I know that my situation is my fault to a certain degree, but is also the result of things that are not really in my control and ultimately aren't very fair. So that's very frustrating because I know I have things to offer. I'm educated. I have an insane amount of talent. My painting, my guitar, my drums. I'm not just your average. I'm exceptionally talented, and it's really a tragedy to have somebody just wasting away like this, because what I have to offer can be good to people. I inspire people when they hear me play and see my work. That's I think the good that I have that I can bring to this world. It's not just entertain; it's to inspire people.
And if you could have changed something about your life or your childhood, what would you have changed?
Well, like I said, maybe I should have just ran away back in high school when I was abused the way I was. That may or may not be true as to whether that was what I should have done. But I definitely should have held on to the relationships that I had in the past, because I used to have some really amazing people in my life, and I took it for granted. And now that I've been relegated to fucking nothingness, like, I realized, like, just how special what I had was, and it's gone. It's all fucking gone. It's probably the most important thing. Like, I should have gotten counseling, therapy, regarding the effects of the abuse that I endured. But at the end of the day, it's about, it's about your interactions with other people. I have all this talent and I do all this amazing work, but it doesn't make a fuck if I don't share it with other people and touch their lives. And, and I don't have, like, I come up with a cool riff or a new solo, or I do an amazing painting that should be in a gallery, and it's like, hey, look, nobody, it's empty, it's hollow. There's nobody to enjoy it with. There's nobody to make smile with what I've done.
It's got to be frustrating.
Yeah. The legal system is very corrupt in this city too. I have a lot of relationship problems, so I often do things that are very stupid when it comes to relationships. And this behavior led me to getting arrested as being involved with somebody under 18, and so now I'm a fucking registered sex offender, and I'm treated like I'm a goddamn fucking pedophile, which is not even remotely true at all. Like, I'm actually a really good person, but what would be considered normal in any other country in Los Angeles put me in jail and put me on probation and taken away my career.
It follows you around for the rest of your life, right?
For most people, it does. Fortunately for me, I didn't actually really do anything. Like, it's perceived intent. Like, I did not have relationships or any physical interaction with this person. And I saw it as a potential relationship. Like, we can formulate, and after a couple more years down the road, whatever, kind of step by step kind of thing. That's in my mind, like, I saw that as a viable option. But the point being that it's considered a very low level, because I didn't really do anything more than have a verbal interaction with this person, and so it won't haunt me forever. I will be able to get my the charge expunged more than likely, and the registration will go away after I'm off probation in 3 or 4 more months. So that's a big part of what's led me to the situation I'm in, and but that's only temporary, thank fucking goodness. So after I get off probation, I will do what I can as far as getting expungement, and I won't have to register anymore, so I won't have the title looming over my head, which is extremely bad, because when it comes to that type of thing, people assume the worst, It's like, people that know me, they know that, like, I was getting a little promiscuous maybe, but I'm not, a fucking weirdo. But after that, I'm gonna move to Japan and start completely all over, like a whole new life, like halfway around the world. So that's my plan.
What would you say is the most important thing you've learned in your life?
Well, I mean, I would like to say, the 4 years college education that I have received, I was fortunate enough to get at the Art Institute. None of regret, that at all. And even though I can't pursue my career at the moment or whatever, but ultimately, that's really the best thing that's come out of coming to LA and everything that's happened here. And even though it's all mostly bad, like, all people like fucking me over and getting robbed and getting caught in the legal system, like, but the thing is, when I came here, I was still just like a kid, I've been basically taken care of my whole life. Like, I lived with my family when I was in college. I never really was on my own. Like, I was just, still a spoiled brat, and like, I was still superficial and judgmental in ways that people shouldn't be, that a lot of people are. Like, see a homeless vagrant on the street, like, oh my God, get away from me, you disgusting animal, like, just really shitty way to view another human being, regardless. Like, even if they do smell like urine and this, that, and the other thing, it's still a fucking person, and you don't know what they've been through. You don't know. Some of them are shitty people. Like, they just, do whatever. Like, they don't care. But like, a lot of them are once you actually get to know them, are not bad people at all, and they don't deserve to be viewed like some disgusting animal. Like I look back at the way I treated people like that and the way I acted, and I'm like, I'm really glad that being dragged through the mud here and all the hardships. Like, I've definitely grown up. Like, it's made me a better person, really. Like, I'm a lot more down to earth, and I treat people like much decent. Like, and then like I don't really have the kind of relationships that I used to have, but I've learned the lessons about that, and I know that at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. And when I do, mend myself a bit further and kind of get back more into society and eventually, have relationships with quality people like that again. Like, I won't take it for granted like I did, and I won't treat people the way I did.
All right, David. Thank you so much for talking with me, and I wish you the best of luck getting out of here. Thank you.
Wow.
All right, so Ariel, David, you were David last interview. Now you're Ariel. You told me last time that you sometimes have this. You like to dress as a woman sometimes.
Well, some would say that it's partially gender dysphoria, and to a certain degree that may be partially accurate, but in my opinion it's not. In my opinion, I don't know to what degree, like, basically each person is male and female. We're all like, there's not as much difference between man and woman as we like to think. Even the flesh that makes our genitals, one's an innie, one's an outie, it's the same flesh. It's really not all that different. The womb is the big difference. But internally, like the way I think and the way, like my psyche, my emotions, like there's two people in there. Like, I'm definitely like very much a boy, and definitely there's a girl in there too. Like,
It's always been this way.
Yeah, so I don't feel it's dysphoria. I feel that I truly, have the essence of both to some degree.
Do you spend equal time as a woman as you do as a man?
No, I spend more time in boy mode, but that's all just facile, superficial, as far as clothing and everything, which puts somebody like me in it has certain difficulties, like, because physically and romantically, for example, I'm not attracted to men. I'm attracted to women. But because of my physique and my demeanor, and often, if I'm fully dressed like a woman, like, obviously I'm immediately perceived as gay, particularly in this street culture of people that are, not to be a bitch, but pretty much ignorant and, very, very closed-minded, like very, just long hair alone, like, oh, you're a faggot. Okay, I'm a heavy metal musician, but right on. Glad you can figure me all out, and
And are there females who are into that? Or?
Well, that's what I was alluding to, is that in this city, not so much. People are so closed-minded and opinionated, and just very small in the city. I thought LA would be more progressive, but there's little pockets of progression, but the vast majority of the city is very behind, very, very uneducated, very ignorant, very, like, outdated. But I did fine in college, like, I dated a lot of really quality females, mostly the, foreign exchange students from Asia.
So, and sometimes you'll work as an escort?
Yeah, well, I'm grateful to have this body that I don't have to work for. I can eat whatever the hell I want. I never have to exercise. I've been the exact same weight and shape since literally my junior year of high school. I have a 24-inch waist. I do nothing to maintain it. Point being that when my life fell apart and I lost my career and everything, and I found myself in a very bad predicament, financially and survival-wise. I'm grateful that I was able to, take to escorting, and I wasn't, walking the streets. I wasn't in Skid Row yet at that time. Like I was in, Hollywood and downtown, like the more upscale area, like. So not to say, oh, I'm a high-class escort, you're a filthy, street whore. Like I'm not saying like that. Just illustrating as far as the demographic, as well as the amount of income. Like I made $1,200 in 3 days. Stayed in the penthouse of the Marriott. Like, so it's not all bad. But as I was alluding to, is the I'm grateful for being able to fall back on that as a financial thing. But ultimately, like in life, there's things that you can learn as an escort that you can only learn really as an escort. Like I did crystal methamphetamine and had debaucherous sexual encounters with judges, lawyers, doctors. And there's things that I know about these people that their own families, their own wives, they would be absolutely mortified if their family, their wife, their kids knew about some of their predilections. But I know these things, and after doing it for a while, you really get to see these kind of secrets, and you get to understand over time. As a result, people on a more fundamental level, obviously surrounding sexuality, but you see, other aspects, like you understand other aspects about that person, like as a whole, not just on the sexual thing. Like race, race is definitely a factor. Like it's not racist, but as far as like the amount of trepidation that a person has regarding if they're interested in like transgender, females, it very much is. You could separate it by race. By far, the Hispanics are the most like. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, cowardly about it. I had some that literally ran away, like, I thought at first, oh, they're running away from me, like, oh my God, am I ugly? Like, but over time of doing it and seeing this behavior over and over again, and, people, showering me with praise, like, I came to realize they're running from their own shit that they can't accept or deal with. By far, the Hispanics are the most, like, weirded out about their own thing with that. And then next is the blacks, and then the Asians and the whites are, generally a lot more. They might not be brave enough to, be open about it to like, their peers, but they're a little bit more comfortable and adjusted, regarding those aspects of their sexuality. So, it really was.
And you'll go out and look for partners, perhaps, sometimes?
Well, as far as a female, I pretty much gave up on that in this city. And then with guys, I tried for a time, like, I wasn't really sure, like, to what extent, my female side, and I lived full-time as Ariel for a whole year, like, basically was in what they call transition. And I tried everything under the sun. I tried, I've been married to a woman for 10 years. I tried dating, with guys, like really dating, like boyfriend, girlfriend, like the whole deal. And I had some polygamous relationships with married couples for a while. And at one point, one of them, we had started talking about me moving in because we were seeing each other on such a regular basis, the three of us, and but they ended up moving to another state. But after it's all said and done, clearly I'm if you take away everything and just like the main thing, like I'm a cliche white boy that has Asian fever, like all about Asian girls, like type of thing, you know.
So you're not into men, you're into women.
Well, and this is
You're
why
attracted to women.
I say I'm a strange mix, because it's like I'm not physically or romantically attracted to men. However, I fucking hate wearing men's clothes. I like dressing like a girl and acting like a girl, and I do like intercourse like as a girl. Like I do like getting, you know, with guys. Like, and it's weird too, because when I'm having sex with a man, like it's like it only works for me if I'm like going about it as though I'm a real woman. Like I have to be treated that way, even though we know that I'm not. Like, but I have to be treated that way. Like psychologically, it messes it up for me. Otherwise, it's a very strange phenomenon that occurs. Like my brain knows, like that you're a guy. Like you don't have like you have a very feminine body, but you don't have like vagina or whatever, like breasts. But my body, it's like my body and my mind are separate, and my body like demands to be treated, like a woman. It's a very like I don't personally even understand. It's a paradox that's happening. Like,
is it frustrating for you?
Not really. Only in that like the difficulties that it creates socially. Like people just assume that I'm gay, like call me faggot, like all that childish bullshit. I don't even care about all of that, but but it does make trying to find a female more difficult, and as much as I like having sex like as a woman, like but it's still, there's no romantic, it's just purely a sexual thing. So eventually I would like to get married again, but I'm not worried about that as far as future tense, because Asian girls are a lot different. Most Asian girls have bi tendencies, so I appeal to their nature. Like, you'll notice that is the case with a lot of the cliche, like white boy, Asian girl. The white boy tends to be a intellectual, skinny, slightly effeminate. That's what they like, because a lot of them, whether they know it or admit it or not, have bi tendencies or are full-on bisexual. I've helped a lot of them to realize this. Like, honey, if you're into me, you probably like girls at least a little bit.
And your family?
Oh, they're totally cool. Well, most of them. Yeah. It was a little tough for my mom at first, but
This emerged at what age?
late. I'm a late bloomer. I didn't start. Well, I mean, I've been dressing like a girl my whole life. Like as a little kid, I would take like clothing like from my mom's or sister's closet, and I would be super careful to like put it back exactly the way it was. And later, after the whole Ariel thing for a year, and then after like the dust settled and everybody like was okay, and I moved past thinking about if I was trans, and realized that I'm just a strange mix, and a lot of the girl side is more fetish than intrinsically who I am. And so after everything, like, and I had like candid conversations with my mom, like, she's like, yeah, we totally knew, like, a girl knows her wardrobe, like, any subtle little, like they knew that the whole time, like, that I was taking their clothes and dressing in my room as a girl. So they knew all along, like, so I suppose that's probably why it wasn't that hard to like really accept, like when I started brazenly going out in public dressed as a woman.
And you're happier as a person being free to do this?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of the details pertaining to me, like as an individual, like just as a moral and a fundamental thing, like people should be who they are, period. Yeah, and even though like I'm an oddball mix and it can create difficulties, but at the same time, like I hate wearing boys' clothes. They're boring as fuck. With the same 3 outfits basically. Like you got the jeans and t-shirt look, you got the suit, you know, like there's like such limited options. You pay like a lot of money for any even remotely decent quality, and the fabric, the material is still garbage compared to even cheap girls' clothes. And girls' clothes is like infinite options and all these, you know, different things and interesting like stuff going on. My friend Tom, who is a 65-year-old weekend warrior, I call them, which is like he's Tom, the millionaire real estate speculator during the week, but on the weekends he's Vicky, you know, part-time drag queen type thing. But I always thought it was funny, his slang, he calls it girl technology. Like all the little complex, you know, aspects of some girls' attire, girl technology. I always thought that was funny.
Are you happier as a female than as a male, or doesn't really matter?
I'm happier wearing girls' clothes, but I mean, like as far as like emotionally and romantically and all that, like definitely there's a huge gap, gaping, you know, hole in my life, like that's, you know, was created when my wife left me. Like, you know, that's like that supersedes everything else, because like I was saying, when you take away all the you know, enigmas and paradox, like that is the strange combination that I am at my core, you know, I'm more of a you know, a heterosexual. Like I'm actually, it's funny because I can be wearing, you know, dress and heels, but in a lot of ways I'm actually more macho than a lot of guys. Like what you would think is the prototypical alpha males. Like I'm actually, in a lot of ways, like I'm more macho. Like I'm very competitive. I listen to brutal hardcore death metal music. Like the way I am with females, like when I'm in a relationship, like you know, a lot of things. When the shit hits the fan, you find out who the real alphas are, and sometimes you'll be surprised who they really are, because a lot of these men are actually scared little boys. So yeah, I'm happier like clothing wise, like, but that's on a physical level. You know, I don't cry over my wife anymore, but it's been a long time since I've been with a female, and it's definitely a big part of my life that's missing.
Is this why you and your wife broke up?
No, we broke up because of overly macho bullshit. I was a selfish asshole, and I cheated on her like a lot and took her for granted, and like really bad too. Not like fucking. I was using her laptop to talk to girls in Japan. I had girls that I met online, like literally fly from Japan, like to stay like in hotels with me for like a week or so at a time. Like that's how bad it was. Like that's some pretty selfish, fucked up shit. And one time she was at work, and I had this one of several, you know, encounters like of that nature, Akiko Yoshida, and I was taking her out to the beach for this beach picnic thing, and I cooked French food, and I thought Lena was at work. She came home early and saw me and this fucking Japanese girl in our apartment, and I will never fully forgive myself, the look on her fucking face. Oh my God. Yeah, that was like, it didn't really, you know, occur to me like how fucked up what I was doing was until I saw that look that day. Like that's when I finally started to understand what a selfish fucking dickhead I was. Like, and I've gotten much better, like losing everything and you know, being trapped in this insane cesspool and being treated like, you know, being underestimated so drastically and treated badly, like after being a spoiled brat my whole life. It's definitely humbled me for sure. And in all this time of like absence of any female companionship as well. I didn't know how good I had it. Like I had a really, really good woman, beautiful, smart, funny, the whole package. I will most certainly not take it for granted again.
All right, Ariel, thank you so much for coming in again and sharing your story.
Pleasure.
You're very interesting.
That's for sure.
Thank you very much.